boom finally erupted. He's Pog back, and he's got Pog bollocks like a Pog bulldog. Let's do this. The good, the bad and the ugly on the James Lawrence Allcott channel. If you are new to the channel, then hit that subscribe button whilst you're there. Random act of kindness, and a little bell, a little notification bell. Click on that as well, and then you won't miss a video as soon as it drops. Manchester derby, what a game that was. One of the games of the season, a dream for Man City fans, turned into an absolute nightmare. They were miles ahead, they were having a dream. Then Pogba happened. We've been waiting for this for about 2 seasons. Everyone's concentrating on it. There's been moments, there's been glimpses. It's been like a sort of gentle fart that's sort of been let out. And is that and then you get back to whatever you're doing. The good this week, it's not Paul Pogba, because forget Pog back, forget Pog boom. It was Pog about time. It was more like Pog bloody where the hell did that fucking come from? In fact, it was actually more like Pog, be honest, he's actually been quite disappointing for the last 2 years. We've been waiting for him to step up, and now he finally seems to be waking up and doing it. Actually, it's more like hashtag Pog, be honest, he's actually had quite a disappointing season, but these couple of the goals will keep everyone off his back till the end of the season at least, until next season when we're going, this is the season that he actually needs to deliver. But that's a bit long, isn't it? One thing I do like about Pogba though, Pog bollocks like a Pog bulldog. Let's talk about the chain of events here. Pogba, pretty disappointing on the pitch, but constantly changing his hair. Gets stick for changing his hair, gets stick for not really playing that well. Then he ends up playing his rivals. He's playing his rivals away from home. He's playing his rivals who he's actually been linked with because his agent is a moron who can't keep his mouth shut. He's playing in a game where he needs to deliver, but actually more importantly, they need to not lose, because if they lose, Man City win the title. What does he do? Dyes his hair blonde. I mean, I want to talk this very, very briefly because it really isn't worth my time or yours, but massive bollocks. Huge. And I should know. The top line on Twitter doesn't really tell the whole story here. Pogba was Pogba-awful. Stop it now. Man United were awful in the first half. It could have been 4 or 5, and this was a team that didn't have De Bruyne or Aguero or Gabriel Jesus in the side. So what happened? Alexis Sanchez happened. There were some great moments from Pogba. Those 2 goals were moments that we want to see from Paul Pogba. Picking up the ball, moving it, then getting himself in the box, because he's a physical threat as well as a technically brilliant footballer. But Alexis Sanchez has had a lot of stick, and no one seems to really care about him. Totally forgotten in all the Pogburbly. Seriously, stop it. It's shit. Alexis Sanchez was superb in that game, and he's really starting to find his feet as a Manchester United player. Yes, over the last few weeks, it has not been clicking for him, but he takes responsibility. When the team is struggling, he steps up, he got on the ball, and he created all 3 goals. First 2 in particular were superb from him. What's really exciting when it comes to Pogba, actually, is the telepathy that you could maybe have. Certainly with him and Lingard, him and Lukaku, but very importantly, him and Alexis Sanchez. You can see that for the second goal that Pogba scores. And actually, Pogba came out and said that Alexis Sanchez said this before the game. I see you all the time. Just make the run, and I'll find you.
What's the matter with you? I'll make it.
And he did. Ultimately, he's been playing 4 years of football constantly with no break. Look at the international tournaments he's been playing since 2014. 2014, the last 16 of the World Cup. 2015, winning the Copa America. 2016, again, the Copa America Centenario, winning that. And last year, playing in the Confederations Cup and getting to the final of that competition. He stepped up when Manchester United needed it. And in particular, Manchester United fans needed him. When it's the game of the weekend, the Manchester derby, and you've got the good coming from Manchester United, then the bad, unfortunately, has to come from Man City. An awful week for them. They've been incredible all season. I've been one of the first people to say this is a team that's probably one of the best in Premier League history. I think it's right up there. 2 defeats in a week, it's bad, but it's not a disaster. But what should be really worrying for Man City fans is their inability to deal with a bit of adversity. Both in the Liverpool game and the Manchester United game, 1 punch and they were on the ropes. 3 goals in 30 minutes against Liverpool earlier in the week. They were shell-shocked. Come to this game, they've dominated for an entire half of football, but they haven't taken their chances. But once Man United get that first goal, for them to score a second goal so quickly and then a third and win the game, that is totally down to Man City's inability to manage that game of football. What I find interesting is a lot of people compare Pep Guardiola with Arsene Wenger in terms of their belief in the purity of football going forward. But I think maybe what you're seeing here are the same weaknesses as well. When it gets to a game where it's not really working for you, when you're trying to save some players and you don't have that physicality up front, it sounds prehistoric, but sometimes you do need a plan B. Sometimes you need to maybe bypass the midfield, because if it's not clicking and working, then you need to just get the ball up the other end of the pitch and settle it for 5 minutes. Man City weren't able to do that against Liverpool earlier in the week in a game that they should, as much as they should look to try and win that game, they need to stunt the opposition. Every Liverpool fan knew that if they didn't win that game at Anfield, it was going to be very difficult for them. And Manchester United, that game should have been dead and buried. No excuses for Man City when they have the money that they spend not to have a plan B. When it comes to ugly, I'm putting a little twist on it this week, because I'm not really sure how else I can crowbar Burnley into it, because they're top of the league. I mean, they're not top of the league. You know what I mean? There's an initial league with all those huge clubs, and then there seems to be this second. You know what I mean? They're 7th in the league, so they're not top of the league, but you know what I mean? They're kind of top of that league. And although they had to win ugly against Watford this week, that was 4 wins on the bounce. Not everything that's ugly is truly ugly. I'm doing it again, aren't I? What I'm trying to say is that there's beauty in ugly. I mean, that goes against the definition. Oh, fuck's sake. Winning ugly is a beautiful thing. And Sean Dyche's Burnley side have shown the spirit, the mental toughness, and at times the ability to go with the confidence that's been instilled in that side to have an incredible season. 49 points, when really you're just dreaming of getting to 40 at the start of the season, shows how far Burnley have come. 13 victories this season. And although they had to win ugly this weekend with a couple of set pieces, getting them the goals, and they have a big front three in Ashley Barnes, Chris Wood and Sam Vokes when they need to use it, only 6 goals that they've scored this season have come from set pieces, 24 from open play, which shows they're playing good football as well. And the man you've got to give the credit for this ability to win ugly, which football fans love, is Sean Dyche. His management over the years at Burnley has been superb, and in particular it has to be down to his man management of what is a very simple, basic, not glamorous squad of players. He said this after the game. And that kind of stuff gets through to the players. It does, it hits them. You know, it hits them in the heart and the mind. And that's what he's been able to do. And like I was saying myself, he also went on to say this. The fourth best defence in the league, mental toughness, spirit, a camaraderie, a connection between the fans and the players. These are all things that mid-table football fans can only dream of. And Burnley have set up a blueprint that other teams in the Championship and even further down can aspire to recreate. How long can this continue? When it gets to the end of the season, I always feel like the slate is wiped clean. So those layers of confidence and belief, that might have to be something that starts again next season. But you've now got a group of players that believe they deserve to be playing Premier League football, and you've seen the quality that can come from having that confidence instilled in them as a team. And as a QPR fan, it's a great thing to see that. It's about the sum of the parts, not just the individuals. And that is something that football fans should truly appreciate in a game that is just constantly all about money. I recently did a video with Sam from the United People's TV talking about Paul Pogba and if he can make it to become one of the world's greatest midfielders. If you want to check that out, click there right now and you can enjoy that video. So that's it for the good, the bad and the ugly for another week. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have done, then do me a favour, hit that subscribe button, and even more importantly, if you've done that already, hit that notification bell. If you're an OG, that means you're an original gangster of James Lawrence Allcott, then let me know in the comments below. First 10,000 subscribers, you will always be OGs. No one can do it after that. I'm going to not talk about OGs after 10,000. So get down in the comments below and let it be known in writing that you are an OG. Let me know your thoughts on the good, the bad and the ugly from this week, and I'll see you soon.